Welcome back to another episode of A Week at the Indies. Whatever your reason for coming back, be it for the quick rundown of all the recent Xbox Live indie games or just to hear my nerdy voice, your loyal host Hogasha is here again to deliver in this game reviewing, opinion spewing, fun for most of your family even if your dad hates me because I peed on his rug again, 8th episode. So let's see what gets my seal of approval and what should just be sealed away in a dark damp box and never spoken of again. The only game this week to earn my approval and my Microsoft points is Grid Space Shooter, a twin-stick shoot-'em-up that is as fun as its name is generic and its aesthetic is borrowed. In Grid Space Shooter, much like most others of its genre, you shoot things until you either run out of lives or the screen runs out of enemies, and you advance to the next wave. The two things that set this apart from most every other in its field are, 1, the choice of 3 very different ships, and 2, how many options you have to deal with your enemies. Normally, you're limited to move and shoot in any other twin sticker, but between the 2 different types of movement for each ship, all the power-ups you can get, and a specific defense mechanism for each vessel, you have much more you can do against the onslaught. The pace of the game feels different as well, with enemies and obstacles that take many hits to kill, along with larger boss monsters that don't really care if you're done fighting everyone else before firing everything they got at you. In fact, my only gripe with the game is that every time you finish a stage, you're treated to... Oh god, okay, I'm glad that's... Anyway, Grid Space Shooter is a great take on a tried and true formula, aside from the name, and if you enjoy the genre at all, you'll enjoy this. Our first no-rated game of the week also tried a few different things, but forgot to include a functional game along with it. Dynasty of Dusk is a turn-based RPG where you can choose your class before each turn in battle, giving you plenty of options even with just one character. While I enjoyed the different take on a somewhat stale genre, everything else about the game lost me. The title screen loaded so slowly I thought the game locked up. Starting the game took so long that I thought the game locked up. Switching menus took so long that, well, I think you got the idea. On top of all this, the presentation is bland and the music is shrill and grating. Not even the combat can save this dynasty from falling. Maybe it's because I've never seen Storage Wars, or maybe it's because I can't remember a game I've had less fun with, but I have no clever lead-in for Storage Warfare. It's so bad I'd rather just forget about it. Imagine a game where you hit A to flip a coin, and mid-flip, someone takes your coin and yells for no reason. So you do it again and again and again and again, and eventually the coin lands, and you either get some of your coins back, or all of them and more. That's all this game is. A cash-in, full of sound and idiocy, giving back nothing. On the other hand, at least Storage Warfare was functional. Galactic Conquest, an unfinished and uninteresting real-time strategy game, pretty much did nothing but troll me the entire time I attempted to play it. Starting a campaign gives you a tutorial that teaches you how to select your ships, but not how to attack. So I and my small fleet just watched as enemy craft destroyed my home planet. But since I hate myself, I tried again and figured out how to attack and defeat my opponents. And then the game just sat there. Nothing to do, nothing to fight, and no way to continue. Fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, I delete your game and tell everyone on the internet that it sucks. Next, please. This next game that didn't impress was this odd little shmup, The Flying Dead. In The Flying Dead, you move along collecting coins and shooting down planes that happen to be piloted by zombies, however that works, on your way to beating a bigger, badder zombie boss in a bigger, badder zombie plane. Or something. Alright, I hate most any shooter that uses the defender style of movement where you can change directions, but in this game, you're supposed to only go one way, making the whole mechanic useless at best. I mean, the game is boring as it is, but there was no point during my time with the game that I felt the ability to turn around added to the experience, and more often than not, it was frustrating. If you want a good shoot-'em-up this week, you saw my recommendation earlier. Let this game rest in peace. The last in this pile of rancid ones and zeros is Storytale Mania Christmas. So ignoring the fact that Christmas was a full month ago and is possibly the last thing I want to hear about for at least another 9 or 10 months, Storytale Mania is a video game version of Mad Libs. And if you're too young to know what that is, get off my lawn. Anywho, you pick from a random assortment of nouns, adjectives, adverbs, and the like to fill in the who's and the how's of a story without knowing exactly where those words are going in the story. The problems with this here are many. 1. Creativity is not a multiple choice question. 2. You fill in about 60 to 75 blanks, and the attention span of nearly anyone playing this isn't going to go that far, especially when you're staring at a mostly static screen for the entire duration. And 3, the story has so many variables that my finished product didn't even have a chance to make sense, let alone be interesting or funny. So thank you, whoever made this. It's only January and you already ruined Christmas. Moving on to slightly greener pastures, we have our first maybe so of the week, Ultimate Dodgeball. Not exactly the Super Dodgeball clone that everyone with rose-tinted glasses always wants. Ultimate Dodgeball is much closer to the gym and schoolyard rule set of get hit, get lost, until one team is eliminated. The gameplay is simple, the concept familiar, and the controls responsive enough, but playing the game by myself wasn't exactly fun. If you can get 3 other friends together, however, I imagine the 80 points would provide at least one night of yelling and laughing. As a kid who grew up sleeping in a basement with no windows and the light switch all the way across the room, our next maybe so game hits pretty close to home. Lights Out is a puzzle game of sorts where you have to navigate your way to an exit based solely on memory, counting, and sound. The 100 stages range from simple rooms with no moving obstacles to elaborate puzzles involving pits, switches, and footballs. If nothing else, it's an interesting idea and not exactly expensive with an 80-point price tag, but I doubt it's something one would play through more than once. If you enjoy the old Adventures of Lolo games and ever thought about playing them blindfolded, well, this might be a good alternative. Our last game of the week, Avatar Stealth, sets out to try the impossible. Make a game that involves nothing but stealth and have it be fun. Sadly, it comes up short, but that isn't to say the game is a complete wash. You could probably beat the entire game by just crawling out in the open, and the camera is a bit dodgy when you creep along walls, but I'd be lying if I said I didn't have fun with it, or if I said I didn't get a bit giddy when I found my first air vent to crawl through. I doubt it'd provide more than a night or two of entertainment, but for the 80 Microsoft points it asks for, it's worth it if you enjoy the trial. And that wraps up this episode. Tune in next week as I tackle the latest in independent entertainment. Or torture, depending on what fate the marketplace has in store for me. Get it? Store? Marketplace? Alright, I'm leaving now. Thanks for watching, I'm Hogosha, and I'll see you next time.